John Malan. I teach at Colby Soil College in New Hampshire in the United States, where I teach permaculture and I also teach environmental science topics. Over a period of time, I became connected to Richmond Vale Academy. So Stina and I put together a program where we can find a way to teach the first permaculture design certificate on the island of St. Vincent. And we made it a very compact, very intensive program. The students need to have at least a minimum of 72 hours of engagement in this program, where they have to get the information about permaculture, the basic principles about permaculture, but at the same time they need to have a practical experience of designing their own permaculture design. What makes it even more exciting is that the designs that they use for their practice aren't just kind of theoretical designs. They are real practical designs of home gardens in Chateaubriand.
Permaculture looks at how we would design systems when we don't have abundant fossil fuel energy. So then this conscious design of systems takes this limited energy into perspective. So it's based on science, but also on what traditional people have done over time. So very often in permaculture we is the forest or natural systems as a teacher. So we say, well, what's the ecology of the region? How do things grow? And how is the forest able to sustain itself? And then we see what lessons we can take from there and take into the area of food production. So on this permaculture course, we learn about what permaculture is. It's a system of design, but we learn the history, and then we look at the whole design process. How do we go from basically looking at a land space, articulating the goals or the visions we have that we want, doing an analysis of that space. When the students on the course, they're getting a lot of theory, but they also get a lot of practice. So we go out and we learn how to do triangulation. So we learn how to place elements on a base map. So we do a base map, we learn how to do that map, and then we learn how to analyze the flows of energy through the land. We learn about patterns and how patterns can help us in design, so that we can create more edge and get more space and be able to incorporate more elements into our design in a functional manner. So it has very much to do with being able to have many functions within the system. Like, so if we have one element, we need to make sure that element has many functions, so therefore we have a lot more connections from that element to other elements. So it's basically what the student will be learning is they'll learn how to do a base map, and then they'll learn how to do an analysis on the land, which, as I mentioned, will involve the sectors, the zones, but also we'll be learning how simple tests, how we test the soil to see what kind of soil we have, how fast the water percolates through that soil.
My name is David Belchor. I'm from Angola, and I'm a student here in RVA, part of the program Fighting with the Poor. And on the last 6 days, I've been part of the PDC, or Permaculture course. It has been so far so interesting and exciting experience. Before in my life, I never think that I would be interested in do stuff related with the agriculture or permaculture, things like that. Besides being a good experience and be good to be used as a hobby, it also is the unique solution that I found so far to the biggest problem that we have, that is climate change and global warming. I like also the way that permaculture is trying to mimic the nature, that showing to the humanity that the solution is not like technology and stuff like that, but being in union with the nature, work together with the nature, because we came from nature. The human being is part of the nature.
It's rooting us, I would say. It's getting us back to the roots from where we are coming, what we are doing. Usually I'm not just because I'm from the city, I'm from just a small city, but still a city. And I had the luck that I grew up in a gardener family, but it's years ago. But I have a bit an idea from farming, from growing plants. but I never understood why you're doing something, what's the result if you plant it in this kind of soil or in that kind of soil. You just know sometimes it grows and another time it doesn't grow, but it could be because of the weather or whatever, but it has a very big influence which kind of soil you have. And for this you need to understand soil, what is soil, and this is exactly what we are learning here. What is soil, what does it mean, and how we can improve it, how we can support it. And for this I'm very thankful, because we are going to Belize, both of us, in very soon for 6 months. There we can teach, or we can give the knowledge which we get here also to other people, and it's amazing for me to have this opportunity.
And now I change my point of view on everything, because when you understand that the soil is a live creature, like organism, all the earth is alive, it changes the way you think, your perspective. And also the knowledge which we get here, I see it as a lost knowledge, that it was already many years ago, people already had it. Like, people were observing the nature, they spent a lot of time outside, they were looking at the stars, at the sun, how the earth is moving, how the sun is moving. They knew all these things. And also here in the St. Vincent, there are some people who never did permaculture course, but they use these methods on their land. So, like, permaculture is returning to their roots, returning to the lost knowledge.
And all of this is within the context of our global situation. So what's happening in terms of climate change, what's happening in terms of the global food system, and the problems caused by that. So it's very much about raising our consciousness by providing us with a lot of information to help us see the world and these very important issues and problems, and see them within a context where we can actually find positive solutions. So if you do an environmental science program or something, you can get quite depressed because you're learning a lot about the problems. But in the permaculture design course, we make you aware of what the problems are in the world with a lot of information. But then we also show you, well, how can we design systems that help to alleviate and improve our situation, not just do less bad, but actually do something positive. So in permaculture we learn quite a lot about ecology. What's an ecological niche? How do plants fit into a system, and what is their niche? What is their relationship with other plants and within the whole system? So the finale of the course is each student presenting a design for a particular area or situation which reflects the knowledge and the understanding that they've gathered within that time frame of the 10 days.